for you. Is that up all the way? I can't tell.
No. Up.
Right,
There you go.
live.
Countdown 2 minutes. Oh, one show. Notification. Wow. Push that bell. They just the polls aren't working on the yeah. They got up right here. Polls were not working on mobile. We had the amp off on the pole. That's probably what you didn't do. That happened. Like 3, 2, 1, here we go. What is going on, everybody? Joshua Cook along with Matt Malatesta here in H-Town, Houston, Texas. Locker Talk live here on our VYPE Texas YouTube page. Ran into a few technical problems, but we're good now. Good. We're ready to talk about state semifinals here coming up this weekend in Texas high school football. We're down to the Final Four. Final Four in the state, Matt, and it's very, very exciting, especially the matchups that you get to see across the state.
Yeah, it's power programs, man. You know, these are brand names that are all kind of in the Final Four of their respective classifications, which is awesome. Great fan bases. And great football. And kind of the common thread, great coaching.
That is the common thread. Going to be joined by a couple of those great coaches here today. Going to be joined here in a few minutes by ALEDO head coach Tim Buchanan. Then after that, hopefully Cedar Park head coach Carl Abseck will be able to join us as well. And then Jerry Prieto of CROSBY join us as well. Caught up with John Kay a few minutes ago, talked to him about facing Austin Westlake. First time they faced Austin Westlake this season playoffs since
2015, when they beat them, and they beat Sam Ellinger, which was a heck of a game.
In
Came down to the
overtime.
last second.
In overtime. All right, we are ready to go to our first coach joining us here on the VYPE hotline. It is Tim Buchanan. He is the head coach of the ALEDO Bearcats. Coach, how does it feel being back in the state semifinals again? I mean, this is something y'all are just used to at this point, but ALEDO going for its 10th state championship this year.
Coach, are you there?
Hello? Yeah.
Can you hear us, Coach?
Yeah, there's a really bad echo, though.
All right, we'll try and grind through the technical difficulties. What's the feeling like being back in the state Final Four?
It's pretty good. It never feels bad to be in the Final Four.
So talk about, you coached, this is your 23rd year in ALEDO as the head coach. You took a break for a while to be the AD. Now you're back in coaching. You won a state championship last year. What's it like with this group of guys, and what makes this group of guys different than the previous years you all won state championships?
Well, they're all wearing masks this year, so that makes it a whole lot different. But other than the fact that the COVID stuff, it's honestly it's just same old thing. Kids that want to work hard and play hard and love playing football. There's not a whole lot of difference from this group from last year.
Coach, I've talked, Tom Westerberg of Allen. He's now down here in Barbers Hill. You've got John Kay here at North Shore. Even like a Nick Saban. Here's what it seems like, and really talking to Coach Westerberg about this. When he was at Allen, the wins are great, but the losses are so paramount because you're not expected to lose. Same with Alabama, same with the North Shore, New England Patriots. how difficult is that to manage the expectations as a coach that, hey, we're going to win, but there is a chance that we can lose some games?
I don't worry about that. We don't talk about winning. We don't talk about losing. We talk about taking care of little things. You know, taking care of things that are going to make you good in life. You know, if you sit around and worry about losing, I'm pretty damn sure you're going to lose. So don't worry about losing. Don't worry about winning. Go out and take care of business, and the winning will take care of itself.
Talking right now to ALEDO head coach Tim Buchanan. Coach, you mentioned, this year's been hard on everybody, with COVID-19 and the economy and different things that have happened. I know ALEDO football is a big deal in this community. How big is it this year compared to years before, just for the fans in this community to have ALEDO football and for these kids to have football to play in a year that's been so trying for everybody?
Well, it's been huge, and trying to get some normalcy back into our community, making sure that we got to play sports was very important, because it's a big part of our community. So making sure that we did get to play and not get shut down due to being not taking care of business and wearing masks and keeping social distancing, and those things were really important to us, and really important to Dr. Bone, our superintendent, and our school board, to try to keep our kids active. And they've been very supportive of our athletic program and our football team, in trying to make sure we had what we needed to make that happen.
Kind of without giving up too much, of course, but what's kind of the game plan going into this weekend?
Into the game with Ryder, you number one, you've got to stop their quarterback, defensively, or slow him down. You're not going to stop him. He's too good of a football player to stop him. But you've got to try to slow him down, both running and throwing the football. And then offensively, they're really good on defense. And so, you go into the game with guys like this thinking, okay, we've got to make first downs. You don't think a whole lot about scoring touchdowns. You think about making first downs, and then turning those first downs into getting good scoring position to get points on the board. And those two things are what we've got to get done.
He was talking about great run that they've had at ALEDO. They take on Ryder this Friday night for a chance to play in the state championship game. Of course, they're gonna play the winner of Crosby and Liberty Hill, and of course, we'll get to that game here in a little bit. But great stuff from Coach Buchanan about the community. ALEDO football is a big deal. ALEDO football, how that community cares about ALEDO football is kind of how I feel the North Shore community cares about North Shore football.
Here's what ALEDO football is. ALEDO football is what Odessa Permian football used to be. Mm-hmm. It's bigger. North Shore is in a big metropolitan city. ALEDO is kind of a small town where everything revolves around that football team. What happens in that locker room, in that field house. And what's been so amazing is Coach Buchanan, it takes a lot of time to build a team or a program that can hold up over time and win 10 state championships. They had so many great players come through there. Now, if you look at the great players, you know, they do it running the ball. They kind of do it, you know, he's an old school type of guy. They play great defense. They run the ball. They've had some great running backs. Very similar to Katy, how they were built. So if you look at those two programs, very similar. But as it relates to being a throwback community, this is a movie. Like, we're seeing the 2020 version of Friday Night Lights.
So this is producer Scott off camera. Is it more like the movie Friday Night Lights or the TV show Friday Night Lights? Coach Buchanan being Coach Eric Taylor, and the Dillon Panthers are the ALEDO Bears.
I've actually never watched a single episode of Friday Night.
You cover high school football.
You are nuts. It's the best show. It's the best show I've ever seen.
You've ever seen?
Yes.
That's a little bold.
Series. Best
I've watched
series.
the movie Friday Night Lights. Let's be clear.
It's nothing like that.
I've watched that movie. Which part of that, by the way, was shot at Lincoln Park ISD Stadium,
Yes.
which had a great. Who we were standing with? We were made with John Kay and Coach Dancy, and they were talking about Billy Bob Thornton coming out like a fur coat. That was great. That was great. We're going to go back to the hotline. Unfortunately, we lost Coach Buchanan, but we are going to be joined now by Cedar Park head coach, Coach Carl Abseck. And Coach, you're in your 6th year of leading this team, the Cedar Park team, and this is a special year. And I want to start with this: your son Gunner plays for the team, and you and him take selfies before every game. I mean, an awesome tradition. And how much fun has it been to continue to take those selfies before every game now into the state semifinals?
Hello?
Hey, Coach Abseck, can you hear me?
Are y'all there?
Hello, Coach.
Hello?
Having some technical difficulties.
Can you hear us?
Yeah, we'll try to get Coach Abseck back on the phone here later. But yeah, a cool story that Rick Cantu, the Awesome American Statesman, did about Cedar Park head coach Carl Abseck.
Hey, Coach, can you hear me now?
I can.
All right, let me go back. I'm going to cut back to Josh and Matt. So Josh and Matt, sorry about that. You should be able to hear them now.
Okay. I think we got Coach Carl Abseck back on the phone. Coach Abseck, what's it like being in the state semifinals with those Cedar Park Timberwolves?
It's fantastic. You know, it's truly an interesting year. Has been an interesting year, and it's awesome to still be playing in 2021.
Yeah, I was before when you couldn't hear us there for a second. I was saying your son Gunner is a senior on this team, and y'all have had a tradition since he was about in the 7th grade of taking a selfie before every game. Not looking too far ahead, but how special would it be to take that last selfie in AT&T Stadium next week, getting ready for a state championship game?
That would be honestly a dream come true for both of us. It's something that obviously we have a big game this week in order to make that happen. But it's something that we've both talked about, and just to have the opportunity would be phenomenal. So, we're going to do the best we can to try to make it happen.
Coach, I believe you were at Westlake prior. Just what did you learn being there that's kind of helped you take this success on at a new school?
I did not hear the first part of that.
Being at Westlake, because I believe you were at Westlake for a period of time. What did you learn?
I was in Wichita.
Okay,
to Cedar Park.
Okay, so even there, what did you learn there that has made you so successful where you are now at Cedar Park?
Well, I was obviously blessed to get hired by Leo Britton, who is a Texas high school Hall of Famer, for my first job coming right out of college, and was able to work with him for 7 years. And then Chris Ross took over, and between the two of them, in my time at Wichita Falls, you're dealing with two guys that are just phenomenal football coaches and phenomenal men. And, you learn a lot about, how the main thing I think is just how to treat kids, treat them the right way, and then how to push their buttons to make them self-motivated and to want to grow and have success by understanding that there's a process to get there and there's a lot of work that's to be done, but make it something that they enjoy being a part of and treating them with respect and having fun with them, because in the end it is supposed to be fun. And so I learned a lot about the X's and O's obviously from them, but how to treat people and how to treat kids and build community and engage the community within your program to garner that support. And but I think if you show them value, people will fall in line to support you and what you're doing and what you're doing with your kids.
Talking right now to Carl Abseck, the head coach at Cedar Park, and Coach, when we look at teams, you look at the quarterback, and your quarterback Ryder Hernandez has gone off this year, 3,800 yards and 51 touchdowns. I mean, so only to 2 interceptions and 364 pass attempts. What's it been like to watch him and what he's been able to do for your offense?
Ryder's done a tremendous job this year. He's a 3-year starter, so we had really high expectations for him as the quarterback and the leader of our offense. And then you mix that in with having 5 or 6 skilled receivers to work with, and 3 really good running backs, and a really solid offensive line that has continued to get better and better as the year went, and have really grown into being a really good offensive line. We felt like we had the pieces in place with Ryder at the front of it. He's done a great job of distributing the ball and making good decisions. And I feel like we're pretty difficult to prepare for, because we do have so many different options for him to work with and throw to, that you can't really just key in on one, because they can all make plays and hurt you. And he's fulfilled everything that we thought he would do. We just hope we got a couple more in him.
Coach, you got a test against Manville. What are the keys to the game coming up this week?
Well, it'll be a lot of the same type deal. We've got to continue to execute at a high level like we have for the most part all year long. Protect the football, but really it's going to be based on how they decide that they want to defend us when we get there. And as we kind of work our way into the game, we're going to have a plan for the different things that they've shown throughout the year. But really for us, it's about continuing to make the plays that we've made all year long. As far as when you throw and catch, it's a fun offense, but you have to make good decisions for the ball, and our receivers have to catch them, put them away. And then, it's one of those deals where it's all going to come down. It's a chess match, and you kind of got to fill each other out at the first to see how, what decisions they've made on how they're going to play us, and then for us to adjust after that. But we're going to try to do what we do, and we're going to work real hard this week to continue to execute at a high level, and I look forward to watching the kids play.
Coach, finally, before we let you go, because I know you got a busy.
Defensively speaking, they're an explosive offense. I think they're averaging 55, 56 points a game. So, and it all starts with their quarterback. So, for us in that situation, we've got to really attack him a little bit, try to put some pressure on him, get us, make him have to rush decisions. And then they've got several receivers that they've, made plays all year long, and that we'll have to do a good job of covering up, because they're, statistically speaking, more explosive than we are on offense, and that's saying a lot.
And Coach, before we let you go, I know you've got a busy week coming up this week as you get ready for Corpus Christi Veterans Memorial. Your first year at Cedar Park, that's the last time Cedar Park won a state championship, was back in 2015. Just talk about, can you compare anything from this year to that 2015 team, or do you see similarities of the run that y'all are on right now?
I definitely see similarities. Both of those groups are really tight. As far as it's one thing to be on the same team, but it's really different when you see that they truly love their brothers, that they're playing for something beyond just themselves. It's a special deal when you can get a group that really has that bond, and so when you really care about the guy that's out there beside you, it makes it that much harder to fail. And so I see that similarities. Offensively, I think maybe in some ways we're a little bit more explosive. We're different because we throw the ball a lot more than we did then. We were more of a balanced attack and probably leaned heavier on the run. And then defensively, we're very similar up front. I think in some ways we're possibly a little bit better in some areas defensively and maybe not quite as strong in some other areas on our defense. But both of them, for the most part, give us about the same amount of points per game, and both do a really good job of attacking the quarterback and pressuring the quarterback. And so there are a lot of similarities. When we compare them, we talk about, you can't be the first team to go undefeated here, but you can certainly be the next. And so that's something that this group is fighting for. And, if they want to be prepared or put on the same level, that's how they'll have to finish in order to do that, because that team was truly special and did go through the season undefeated and win a state championship.
All right, he is Coach Carl Abseck of Cedar Park. They take on Corpus Christi Veterans Memorial this weekend. Coach, go and get ready for the game and take another selfie with Gunner, and we will see y'all taking selfies on the field at AT&T Stadium next week as y'all prepare to play for a state championship.
Well, I hope you're right, and I'm looking forward to this week as well. And it's good to know that we got at least one more.
All right, appreciate the time, Coach.
Thanks for having me.
All right, that was Coach Carl Abseck here on VYPE Locker Talk Live as we're back here in Houston, Texas. Joshua Cook along with Matt Malatesta. Let's give you a little bit of a breakdown of what is coming up this weekend. So we'll start with 5A Division II. We'll start at the lowest, I got my brackets all backwards here.
You guys say real quick, 5A D2 has been maybe the most competitive, I feel like, of all the 5 and 6s that are still playing. I mean, ALEDO barely squeaked by Lovejoy, Liberty Hill barely squeaked by Pioneer, nail biter between Manville and Cedar Park, who we just got off the phone with. D2 5A has been great.
Absolutely, and and those are the communities. I mean, we go back to a culture, right? Those are throwback communities. It's because the size of their school is such that it's manageable. It's also sometimes in kind of a smaller town, which is really cool to see. Crosby's a great example. I mean, the people in Crosby are going to be freaking out.
I can tell you right now that Crosby is like that fan base. They're like Mississippi State fans. Like they get the
That's
bells,
not good. That's not
they
good.
get the bells going. I meant like the bells. I meant like the loud and like getting. They like the bells out there. Crosby taking on Liberty Hill this weekend. Head coach Jared Prieto will join us here in a few minutes on Locker Talk Live. Yeah, I mean, can you imagine? Because I know it's going to be limited attendance at the state championships next week. But Crosby gets there, ALEDO gets there, those two fan bases. That's going to be a fun game. Like, that's going to be a fun environment.
Right. Here's the thing that concerns me when you play a team like ALEDO and you never won a state championship. They've seen it all. The lights, I mean, when we go to these games at Jerry World, when you're looking through there, just as a fan and as a media person, you're like, dude, this is a big deal.
This is a big stadium.
It is a big deal.
Talking about big deals, Crosby Cougars, they've defeated the number 5, the number 4, and the number 3 teams in the state of Texas the last 3 weeks. All those teams are undefeated. The head coach of those Crosby Cougars is Jared Prieto, and he joins us live here on Locker Talk Live. And Coach Prieto, we talked Saturday, and you were smiling and I think a little hoarse from the game and stuff.
Guys, can you hear me? Hold on 1 second.
Yeah, we're going to get Coach Prieto back here in a second.
A shout out to our remote producer, Joshua W., a.k.a. WAC, making it happen.
Hello.
We're calling him in.
Hey, Coach, I think we got him back, guys.
Coach Prieto, are you there?
Yes, sir. I'm here.
All right. Well, I was mentioning a second ago, we talked about this Saturday. Y'all knocked off 3 straight state-ranked opponents, all of them undefeated. I mean, Code Red is just it's going off right now across the state of Texas. What's it like getting ready for the state semifinals now?
Yeah, it's a pretty exciting time. You know, our community has really rallied around this team, and it's been awesome to be a part of and to see, and to have this community kind of get back to what it was before some of the hardships that they've kind of endured the last couple of years. And you know, it's a lot of work getting ready for these guys. You know, when I go to bed at night, all I dream about is like there's like 50 guys on the field all running like they have a dang football, and I don't know who really has it. But you know, it's exciting times. We're excited to continue to play and to be able to go out and practice this week.
Coach, back up a week. Let's talk about Fort Bend Marshall. At what point in that game do you say, I mean, there were so many ups and downs in that game, and your guys just kind of rallied, you know, to the challenge. What was kind of your thoughts after the game? Was it, hey, these guys took a really tough punch from one of the best teams in the state over the past couple of years and responded? Were you most proud of that, or were you kind of expecting it?
You know, we have extreme confidence in our kids, and you know, I think anybody that was down kind of on our sideline saw that there was no point in the game where our kids didn't feel like that we were going to win the game. They were confident in the game plan. We talked about it at halftime. We kept making some little mistakes here and there that kept us from scoring on offense. Our defense kept us in it. But our kids they're confident kids, and like you said, you know, we went through a gauntlet. We beat number 5, then we beat number 4 in overtime, and so you know, they have all the confidence in the world going in there. And some of our leaders, some of our senior leaders, were going around and getting the sideline going and keeping the spirits up. And you know, offensively, we feel like we can score pretty quickly on a bunch of people, and so you know, it was 21-9, but we still felt like we were very much in the game.
And Coach, you know, you had mentioned a second ago that you're already having you know, nightmares of who's running the ball. You're taking on a Liberty Hill team that ran for 717 yards. Blake Simpson was one of the big rushers. He rushed for 312 of those yards. I mean, how do you get ready for a wing T offense when now a lot of people don't run that offense anymore in Texas high school football?
Yeah, it's a really difficult offense to get prepared for, because you can't really simulate the speed and the precision that they play at and just how hard their kids play. That's one thing that I really took away from when I went and watched them Saturday. Is their kids play extremely hard. They play extremely fast. And I don't know if I've seen anybody in a long time that executes the scheme of their offense as good as Liberty Hill does. So it's going to be a difficult week for us to prepare for it. But we're going to, put our best foot forward and see what happens.
Coach, 2 big-time studs on offense, but it's your defense that is the game changer, I think. And they'll have to be this week as well. How do you get these guys motivated? How impressed are you with your defense?
Yeah, they've been saving us a whole lot. Against Huntsville, really our defense only gave up 3 scores. We had a kickoff return. And then last week, we had multiple stops inside the 10 that really saved us in that game. But our defense has played really well all year outside of a couple games. And our defensive line has really stepped up and played really well. And it allows our linebackers to run around and make plays. And our DBs have been competing for the ball. And they're going to have to step up real big this week. We're going to have to be able to get off blocks and make tackles and, play really sound, technique-oriented defense this week.
They put up a ton of points last week, but they gave up a ton of points. So are you going in with your mindset that this is going to be a complete shootout over the weekend?
I don't know. They did give up some points, but the last few weeks, throughout most of the season, though, they haven't given up a ton of points. We're kind of do what we always do. We're going to try to figure out ways to get our playmakers the ball in space and let them go make plays. And, whatever it is, whether it's a shootout, whether it's a defensive struggle, our main goal is just to score one more point than they do. So however that works out and whatever it takes, that's our main goal.
Well, Coach, you take on Liberty Hill like we talked about. If y'all win this game this week, this will be the first time that Crosby football has gone to a state championship game in 60 years. 1960 was the last time Crosby went play for a state championship. What would it mean for this community, especially everything they've been through over the last few years, everything a bunch of people, everyone's been through in the last year? What would it mean to the community for Crosby football to be in AT&T Stadium next week playing for a state championship?
Yeah, I think it would mean a lot for the community. Like I said earlier, they've really rallied behind us, and the atmosphere at the game last week was awesome, and the week before, and you go back to our SFA game too. We traveled really well out to Nacogdoches for that game, and it's been fun to be a part of it. I think it would be really special if we're fortunate enough to do it. And, I don't think there would be too many people hanging out in Crosby next week if we were able to move on and be successful this week.
I think they would put the sign up that says the last one out of town, turn off the light, right? That'd be the sign outside Crosby, Texas.
I think so.
Well, I know they will travel well. They traveled well to Turner Stadium last week. I know they'll travel well up to Bryan, Texas, Merrill Green Stadium. They'll get the bells going. I'm excited. I'll be there for the game on Friday night as y'all take on Liberty Hill. Coach, we wish you the best of luck this week as you take on Liberty Hill, and we'll see you Friday night out at the game.
Yes, sir. Sounds good. Thank you for having me.
All right, that's Jerry Prieto, the head coach of the Crosby Cougars, as they take on Liberty Hill this week in the 5A Division II state semifinals. So, we talked about Ryder's going to take on ALEDO. Crosby will take on Liberty Hill. Winners go to AT&T Stadium next week. 5A Division I. If I can get to the right bracket here. So it's fun about live TV here. 5A Division I, Mansfield Summit takes on Denton Ryan. Cedar Park, we talked to that head coach, Carl Abseck. He takes on Corpus Christi Veterans and More, an undefeated team in 5A Division I. 6A Division II, this is an interesting one because Katy takes on Buda Hayes. Katy just taking care of Clear Falls this past weekend like we thought they would. Great season by Clear Falls. Cedar Hill, Denton Guyer on the other side. Winners go play for a state championship. And, of course, we know the big one, 6A Division I. That's the big one. North Shore takes on Westlake. Southlake Carroll takes on Duncanville. So very excited about those matchups. Very excited.
Yeah, I tell you what, Southlake Carroll has a quarterback in Quinn Ewers who puts fear in a lot of people. However, Duncanville's defense is rough.
It is, but I'm just saying, the man put up like 450 yards last week.
I get it.
There are still a lot of Texas fans, and I know there's one walking down the hall that's really mad that he's not going to come to Texas. Instead going to Ohio State.
Well,
hey, maybe he will now with the new coach.
All right, let's go to the pick-em, fellas.
Let's go pick 'em. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So again, this is producer Scott.
Hey guys, before we go pick them, of course, you picked them last week, and so there was a sandwich on the line. So hey, Matt was up.
The sandwich tracker.
But Josh redeemed himself last week. He pulled it out by one game. So
One
game. So we move on. We're gonna run through these games.
That's a Matt Malatesta style sandwich right there.
It is pretty good.
That is
if
beautiful.
you want to run through the games, and got some graphics for you guys. So
all right,
you want to take it away? Yeah, go ahead and take it away.
Yes. So first game, we got Mansfield Summit and Denton Ryan, and VYPE DFW writer Steve Peters commented Denton Ryan beat Highland Park. Highland Park has beaten Denton Ryan like the last 4 years in a row in the playoffs. So Denton Ryan finally gets over the hump. I think their receiver, I forget his name, but had a viral video of that one-handed catch, which was wicked awesome.
That was ridiculous.
So who you got? Mansfield Summit versus Denton Ryan.
Mala is going Denton Ryan.
Okay.
Malatime.
No.
But here's my concern. Is Denton Ryan sometimes when you beat that team that you always want to beat, there is a bit of a letdown. However, I'm going Denton.
So, here's what the crazy thing about this is, Matt. You know what the crazy thing is? Mansfield Summit got into the playoffs as the 4th place team.
Wild.
4th place team out of District 4, 5A.
COVID year.
They had a COVID year.
I think it's pretty standard.
They got into the playoffs. You know what? I'm riding with Mansfield Summit. 4th place team's gonna go play for a state championship. Prove all the doubters wrong. Do it.
That's D2 5A, right?
Mansfield Summit wins this game. I got him winning the game. They got a guy, David Hopkins, D-Hop, quarterbacking for him, 1,500 yards.
They're streaky right now, man.
I'm hungry. And I'm going to be eating sandwiches next week. Let's go.
Keep track of those sandwiches.
Okay, moving on.
Moving on. Cedar Park versus Corpus Christi Veterans Memorial.
Well, the Cedar Park quarterback is out of this world. I mean, he is so efficient. But Corpus Christi Veterans Memorial is coming out of that Region 4 area. I'm going Cedar Park because they just play kind of a tougher schedule. So, and they're grizzled, and they've won it before.
Yeah, and like you said, they beat a tough Mansfield team.
True.
What is it? Manville team.
Yeah.
Manville's really good. Cedar Park has been rolling all year. I like Cedar Park.
Cedar Park, Ryder Hernandez, by the way, awesome name for a quarterback. Ryder. He's thrown 51 touchdowns this year to just 2 interceptions in 360 pass attempts.
Pretty good.
Those are NFL MVP numbers.
Mahomes.
Yeah.
I'm going to say Carl Abseck and his son Gunnar will get to take a selfie at AT&T Stadium next week before the state championship. I feel like that should be a cool photo book at one point. I'm sure the mother is going to work on that, or Carl will work on it. But I'm going Cedar Park. Timberwolves win this one.
That'd be a great video.
That'd be awesome.
Fully support that. So let's move to 5A. The other, is it D1, D2? D2.
Yep.
Wichita Falls Rider versus ALEDO.
Dude.
Rider's hot, though. I got to say, they kind of remind me
Keep it moving, ALEDO. They're definitely have a shot at winning 10.
Number
this
10.
year. Number 10 this year.
That's a lot.
That's insane, dude. ALEDO for show.
It would be the most in Texas high school football history. March would have had number 10 this year if they didn't get upset a couple weeks ago.
Sure.
Tim Buchanan has been in ALEDO 23 years. He's won a lot of state championships there. They've won 8 state championships in the last 11 years.
That's a lot of insight.
That is
tremendous insight.
Just saying.
It's crazy.
Pick them!
ALEDO.
You know you're picking them.
ALEDO wins this game over Wichita Falls Rider.
I'm going Rider. I'm going against the grain.
He's going against the grain.
I know Wack over in Austin would appreciate so.
Okay. All right. Who's next?
Crosby versus Liberty Hill.
I'll let you go first.
I think you go. I
go first?
All the picks. Yeah.
I'm going Crosby. I like what they do. If you beat Marshall, you beat Huntsville, you beat those really. You beat Texas up in Texarkana.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
They're rolling right now. And I am on the Crosby Cougar train. I might paint my house red if they win. No, take that back.
Can we get that? No. He said it.
Stop.
He said
no.
it.
Let's get that right.
Coach Prieto, we're painting his house red.
Like TV.
I'm gonna paint my pool house red.
Pool house.
Oh,
It's a little house.
Flex on pool house. All right, Josh, you got it.
Liberty Hill has been such an amazing story this year, but I'm going to go Crosby. Crosby's defense is really good. Liberty Hill, I'm excited to see Liberty Hill's wing-T offense.
Are you? You want to get your time machine and
like
go back to the 1930s and watch it again?
Hey, it had
Black and white video.
They're
awesome.
They
Blah,
were
blah,
in the state semifinals.
Yes.
They rushed for 717 yards last week. If you can run the wing-T offense to efficiency like that, that's exciting to watch.
That doesn't bode well for the defense that they just played.
But what I'm most fearful about is I have to go video this game, and I don't know which way the ball's going. So that's going to be a challenge for me. But I'm going to go Crosby. Deniqua's done. Reggie Branch.
Ball.
Crosby. Going to go play for a state championship for the first time in
job.
60 years.
Play your position.
60 years.
Yeah, it's a lot. I'm definitely, both good stories. I'm with Crosby as well.
Okay.
Moving on.
Denton Guyer versus Cedar Hill. Tough matchup between two Metroplex schools.
I mean, these are power programs.
Yeah.
I think I went with Guyer. I like what they've got at quarterback. He's going to Texas A&M. I saw them in person last year against Westfield in the state semis, maybe regional finals.
Yeah, those semis.
And they're really, really a well-coached team. I'm going Denton Guyer.
If I remember right, the quarterback for Denton Guyer, I think his name Eli Stowers.
Yep.
Is that right? Got hurt early in the state championship game against Westlake,
Yes.
which Westlake went on to win that game. Denton Guyer wins this game because they want to get back to state. They want to go and try and win that state championship that they were not able to do last year.
And Eli Stowers has a sister that's a really good volleyball player.
Shout out.
I don't know. Shout out. Boom. Go.
That's a shout. Next.
I'm going Cedar Hill on that one, if y'all care. Because Cedar Hill beat Rockwell Heath, who beat a very good Bridgeland team as well. So I like Cedar Hill.
Very good point.
In this one. So continue on in 6A D2. We have Katy versus Buda Hayes.
I'm going to go Katy just for the experience factor, but their quarterback has got to come to play. Their defense is going to be great, but the quarterback has to be a factor or they're going to load the box on them.
I think Caleb Koger has made the steps now. He has taken his lumps early in the season. Like against Katie Tompkins, he did not have a great game. He had a great game the next week against Katie Taylor. He has evolved at quarterback. Because you think about the coach, like Gary Joseph, he knows how to get these guys clicking at the right time. Defense is good. Running backs are really good. I'm going Katy Tigers. Katy will go and play for a 6A Division II state championship next week. That's my prediction. They'll try to win their first since 2015.
Shout out. I like Katy. They've been cruising these playoffs, man. I think they'll have a challenge because it seems like they've had an easier path, it feels like. So far.
Much easier path.
Or maybe they've just been playing that great.
A much easier path, Scotty.
Look, D2, they are rocking it. Okay, 6A D1, 4 power programs.
Yes.
Really some of the most recognizable programs in the state of Texas. On one side of the bracket, we have Duncanville versus SOUTHLAKE CARROLL. We talked about it a little earlier, but official picks, who you got?
I'm going Duncanville. They're just straight nasty. Their defense is really, really good. I think they're not going to shut down Ewers, but I think they're going to get enough get enough stops to win.
This is tough.
We will not get a third straight North Shore versus Duncanville meeting. Southlake Carroll, the Dragons, will win this game. Quinn Ewers last week was 35 of 39 for 450 yards and 6 touchdowns.
Who they play?
I don't know who they. I think Euless Trinity. Yeah, they dominated Euless Trinity.
I could throw for 250 on Euless.
On Euless Trinity,
They beat Allen.
Who?
they beat Allen.
Yeah, Trinity
Who's
beat
Allen?
Allen.
Trinity beat
Oh,
Allen, and then no. You know what? Quinn Ewers is the top quarterback in 2022. Riley Dodge and company, Southlake Carroll, win this game. They beat Duncanville. They go to the 6A Division I.
This is what we call a sandwich game.
This might be the sandwich.
This is the sandwich game.
There's
There's one game that me and Matt will go opposite ways, and then we'll be texting each other during the game.
Yeah, where y'all are tweeting back and forth from each other from the same account too.
That is true. We were both logged into Mike Houston tweeting at each other, which was great. And then I texted Matt. I said, no, I actually had confidence before that game. I had texted you my sandwich order before that game.
Sure.
I'm with you, Josh. Make a really compelling argument. Southlake Carroll, best quarterback for a reason. He is the real deal. Duncanville, they'll beat a DeSoto team 56-28 in the regional final, and that DeSoto team is good. And they doubled up on them. So I got to go Duncanville.
Just to jump in real quick, I mean, I think Duncanville could be on a mission, right? So 2 years ago, lost on a Hail Mary. Last year, it can be argued they lost because they lost their starting quarterback before the championship game. They could be out for blood. I mean, they could easily be back-to-back champions like North Shore. So I want to see this is one game I'll probably talk about the most, but I want to see North Shore versus Duncanville Part 3. But I think that's the game. I know we're about to talk North Shore versus Westlake, but I think that's the game this week.
I agree. Also, Duncanville beat Southlake Carroll last year in the playoffs, if I'm not mistaken. So Southlake Carroll,
Revenge factor.
it's a revenge game. But like I said, this is the sandwich game of the week.
Sandwich game.
Anybody want to sponsor this Subway? Or anyone? Shout out.
Sandwich
Cut
game.
the check.
By the way, Southlake Carroll last week against Hewlett Trinity, which Matt thinks he can throw 250 yards against. They scored on 9 of its 10 meaningful possessions to get back to the state semifinals.
That's
for the first time since 2011. And also, Brady Boyd, 17 receptions for 261 yards and 4 touchdowns. So,
You got to go to somebody.
If Southlake Carroll gets wind of this, they're going to be like Northwestern and fighting Reese Davises. Did you see that?
Yes.
Yeah, they're going to be the fighting down Testas. Okay, so last game here, 6A D1 North Shore versus Westlake.
All right, I fell into a trap 2 years ago, and Lake Travis got everybody hot and bothered. Lake Travis, and they came to town to play North Shore, and I picked Lake Travis, and North Shore murdered them.
Yep.
Hudson Card was the quarterback. He ended up going to Texas. North Shore blew them out. I don't think Westlake has an answer for one person. And who's that one person, do you think? It's not Demetrius Davis.
Shadrack King?
Shadrack Banks.
I was going to say Charles King. Yeah.
I've seen him evolve over the past couple of years. He could play any position on the field. He played running back, quarterback. He was the deep snapper and virtually the gunner on all of their punts. This dude's a freak. And I don't think he's so hard to tackle that I think we saw a couple years ago when Shadrack Banks had a coming out party against Katy.
Yep.
And then he did it against Duncanville. I'm telling you, people have fallen off this cat.
Well, he got hurt last year.
Hey,
he wasn't really ever in the season, right?
No.
He tried to come back, and it's just never happened. And he's got over 1,200 yards receiving this season. He caught a screen pass last week and took it 92 yards down the middle of the field and ran past the entire defense.
He's special, man.
The Aggies are going to love having him.
They're going to drop so
especially
many
that
fun
O-line
plays.
they just signed to. It's going to be great.
I'm going North Shore.
Are we surprised? No.
Shocking? No.
This is going to be a really, really good game.
We also
thought that North Shore Lake Travis was going to be a really, really good game a few years ago too, and that got out of hand really quickly. Yep. I don't think anybody in that North Shore building is thinking they're going to go blow out Westlake, right?
No.
This is going to be a really good game. I think Westlake won the 6A Division II state championship last year. It was the first title, I think, since like the mid-'90s. I think when Drew Brees was there. And
really?
Yeah, it had been a while. It had been a while since they had won a state championship.
Yeah. They had been there against North Shore with Sam Ellinger, but lost. With Drew Brees was the last time.
In overtime.
And making the game-winning tackle in overtime was
Caleb on Chase on LSU NFL
Jaguars.
First round.
My pick is North Shore. Back-to-back state champions. What they have been able to do, and I think this is going to be a really close game, but what they've been able to do, I mean, they dismantled Pearland Dawson. They took out Ridge Point last week. Region 3 has always been talked about as one of the toughest regions in the state of Texas. This is going to be a challenging game, but North Shore, I think, gets to AT&T Stadium to try and win their 3rd straight state championship, which, if my picks go right, it'll be North Shore versus Southlake Carroll next week. Quinn Ewers on one side against Demetrius Davis on the other side. That would be a lot of fun.
So real quick, guys. So y'all picked 2 different games. So there's the possibility of a tie, and that doesn't vibe well with me for Sandwich Tracker. So let's talk about North Shore Westlake here, and let's make score predictions. Right, this is the tiebreaker. Score predictions for Westlake North Shore. Josh, as the reigning champion here, I'm gonna let you pick your score first. Okay.
Ooh. Oh, so I gotta pick the score now.
Yeah, it's like the tiebreaker of the NCAA bracket challenge. You gotta put.
I just always put a random number in there. I think I write like 100 to like 0. I never even care about that because my bracket will get blown up so early. This will be my prediction: North Shore 42, Westlake 28. I think the game gets away from Westlake late. I think North Shore makes a couple scores late, and they end up winning that one 42-28.
Matt's going 3 tutties. I feel it. Give it to him. Give it to him.
52-21.
What was that, Matt?
In 52-21. Book it, Dano.
Here's the thing. We mentioned Katy probably has had an easier path in D2 in Region 3. North Shore has had a tough path in Region 3 and has made it look pedestrian.
Yes.
So that I think Westlake will be closer because it's Westlake, but it's not a blowout. But yeah, North Shore handily wins. I'd say by 17.
52-21.
You're going to get some texts from John K here in a few minutes.
Well, I understand. But
I understand.
I mean, right is right. They're killing people, dude. You got to see them in person. I mean, Ridge Point has some good-looking kids, and it wasn't even a game.
What I really like is just how, because we've both seen North Shore quite a bit this year. And it's how their game plan, right? How they change their game plan from week to week, what they're going to do to you.
Their coaching is amazing.
Like, Willie, I still say it, Willie Caston is a genius at offensive coordinator. What he's doing, like, putting Shadrack Banks, the first time I saw Shadrack Banks line up in the backfield, I was like, okay, what's going on? Oh, they're putting him at running back? Oh, okay. He's pretty much like a refrigerator going down the field that you're going to get 5, 6, 7, 10, 20. Okay, then he's going for a touchdown.
I don't even think they've even broken that out yet. They've broken it, but they could do. He's an every down back.
There are so many things. Can we line him up at tight end? He can play tight end
And linebacker.
So,
anyways, there's the picks, my friends.
That's the picks. That's the show for today. Big thanks to CROSBY coach Jared Prieto for joining us. Also, ALEDO head coach Tim Buchanan joining us. Carl Abseck, the head coach of Cedar Park. Appreciate them being guests on the show. We made our picks. The sandwich calendar is tied at 1-1. Who makes the advantage going into the state championship week next week? That is the biggest question that people will be wondering heading into Monday next week.
So real quick, Josh, you think SOUTHLAKE Carroll versus North Shore. Do you want to see a third round of Duncanville North Shore, or do you just think SOUTHLAKE's going to win? Like, do you want it? Because we got to, I don't know.
Here's the thing. I mean, if it is Duncanville North Shore again for a third time, and yeah, it's that, like, third time is going to be the third time's a charm for Duncanville. It's a revenge game, all this stuff. But I just think SOUTHLAKE Carroll is really good. I think they're a really good football team.
Yeah, Coach Dodge is back. I think people forget that. The Coach Dodge is back, and he's got those boys coached right.
Yeah, exactly.
Right on. All right. We will see what happens on the field of play.
We will be at the games. Matt Malatesta will be on the call of the North Shore Westlake game on Saturday with Todd Creed on the Q57, Q57 game of the week. We'll have live coverage of that game, the Katy game, the Crosby game, all at VYPE Houston, at VYPE ATX on social media. Be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel, VYPE Texas. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you next week, and we'll see you at the games.